Anyway, what else is out?
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
I do like that as a title.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Although I have to say, for ages, it was being referred to. A friend of mine had seen it and really liked it, and they kept calling it Everything, Everywhere, All at the Same Time. And so every single time I say the movie title now, I have to kind of correct myself, get Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. So this is a really inventive movie that's been there's been a bit of press recently because Jamie Lee Curtis took to social media to say that their movie was kicking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, both because it was doing well at the box office and it cost 25 million, where I think Doctor Strange cost around about 200 million. And so Jamie Lee Curtis said, competitive, golly, yes. Although she didn't say golly. She was very. You met Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Because you interviewed her for the new Halloween movie. So it's a multiverse movie that does something interesting with the idea of the multiverse. Remember when we were talking about Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness last week, and I said, well, it doesn't really advance the idea of the multiverse, although it does have some interest. Like I think Elizabeth Olsen is the kind of heart and soul of that movie, actually, although Doctor Strange is in the title. In the case of this, Michelle Yeoh is a Chinese-American woman who runs a laundromat with her husband, Waymond, who is sort of smiling and happy, but their marriage seems to have gone south. They don't appear to have the spark that they once had, and she is ground down. They are facing an audit by the IRS, a character played by Jamie Lee Curtis in a frighteningly fringed wig, who tells them, looking at their accounts, this does not look good. This does not look good, and they have to get through the audit. And she also is facing a problem with her father is visiting, and she's always felt that she disappointed her father. And their daughter is somebody with whom she seems to have lost contact. She can't say the thing that she really needs to say, which she needs to say, I love you. Instead, she says, oh, you're getting fat, because she can't think of the right thing to say. The daughter is in a long-term relationship with a girlfriend, and she can't tell her father that his granddaughter is gay because she's somehow embarrassed. So everything has kind of reached this point of stasis. She gets into a lift in the tax office, and suddenly Waymond, who is usually very placid, turns to her and says, right, I'm not your husband. I'm another version of your husband from a multiverse. There are infinite numbers of multiverses, and we've been searching for somebody to fight this rising threat, which is going to wipe out all, and you are the only person that can do. We know that you're the person, and you have a choice. You're going to get out of this lift. You can either go right to the janitor's closet, or you can go left into the tax audit office. And at first, she thinks this is nuts. Why are you behaving like this? Very rapidly, it becomes apparent that actually she is living in a completely different reality. The production team, in their hilarious way, have chosen a clip that is absolutely dialogue-free.
Oh, good.
Because when stuff starts to happen, suddenly the film starts to leap through different genres.
Are you going to talk us through it like you did with Doctor Strange?
Shall I do that? Shall I talk us through the... Okay, so I'm going to talk you through the clip. So essentially, once the multiverse thing starts to happen, the film starts to genre hop, often like in a really kind of, bafflingly kaleidoscopic way, as our central character discovers that there is more to life than laundry and taxes. Here's the clip. So, they're in the tax office. That's a truncheon being battered against a part of office furniture. Michelle Yeoh is about to engage in a full-on martial arts fight sequence.
She's good.
With a wooden spoon and a trowel, which is the wooden spoon's just been destroyed. She's now throwing a laptop, which has just been struck into two pieces in midair. Top martial arts action happening in the tax office. She's hitting him with a computer keyboard, which nearly took her eye out.
Yes.
Aerial, there's wire work.
Oh, she hit him on the head.
She hit him on the head. I mean, I don't think we're doing full justice to what's happening here.
Well, what can you do? You can't just play it without any...
Okay, there are two people having a...
They're now slapping each other.
Slapping each other.
Hours?
Well, that was That was a whole new genre where Mark actually talks you through an action scene. Well, I thought you did very well last week. And basically so they're in an office. He's got all the kit to have a fight, and she's just got a keyboard and a slappy hand.
Yes, and yet somehow she manages to hold her own, because it turns out that in any given circumstance, she can leap into another part of the multiverse. As long as she can find somebody in another multiverse who has the skills that she needs in that particular way, she can then adopt those skills. So, on the one hand, the film obviously owes a debt to Matrix. It's, somebody is suddenly given red pill, blue pill in Matrix? Yeah, I think so. A choice. Look, you can stay in this world, or you can accept the fact that there are lots of other worlds going on, and we've decided that you are the one. There's a lovely bit in which she's told, we know that you can do anything because you're so rubbish at everything. You failed at so many things that actually that is one of the reasons why you're going to be the savior that we think you are. So the film is then littered with cine-literate references to films like, there's a joke about 2001, there's a whole section which is kind of the In the Mood for Love world. There's nods to Fight Club to some extent. Actually, the filmmakers said that they started doing this after seeing a double bill of Matrix and Fight Club together and realizing how much they loved those 90s movies. There's a long extended sequence which is inspired by Pixar's Ratatouille. This is directed by, they call themselves Daniels. You know their work because it's Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schreiner who made Swiss Army Man. I think you interviewed Daniel Radcliffe for Swiss Army Man. Swiss Army Man was the film that was nicknamed Farting Corpse movie.
No, I didn't. I didn't interview him for that, but I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, which is a very, very odd movie. I think a movie that was, kind of overwhelmed with its own quirkiness. I mean, there was something else going on in there, but it didn't entirely work for me. This does entirely work for me. And it works for two reasons. The first one is it's actually doing something interesting with the concept of a multiverse, something that's funny. So it keeps throwing these increasingly absurd worlds in front of us, a world in which people have hot dogs for fingers.
Really?
Yeah, a world which brilliantly life was unable to be sustained. So all these different multiverses are out there because every time you make any decision, it kind of creates another multiverse. So it does expand upon that idea of the infinite, the myriad possibilities of the multiverse. But at the centre of it, it's not about that at all. At the centre of it, what it's about is a really, really recognisable human story about mothers and daughters, about dreams and disappointments, about coming out and coming of age, about understanding that there is a difference between hobbies and professions, but not letting that crush your dreams. It's all the things that it's actually about are things that anybody would recognise as completely normal, tangible, real things. And yet it's told in a way that is, kind of really overcranked, cinematically inventive, as if what you're doing is you're jumping between genres.
That's
as if
great.
what you're doing is you're flicking through a flick book of a number of different films, a bit of this genre, but there's a little bit of Mexican wrestling movies. There's a little bit of Jackie Chan martial arts movies. There's a little bit of, there's a joke about the beginning of 2001. But it only works if you're emotionally engaged. And I think what the reason that this has found the audience that it has is because, like The Matrix in a strange way, The Matrix is, we were talking about this before, that The Matrix is all about that feeling that everyone has, that the world is out of whack, something is wrong. And then suddenly this guy turns up and goes, yeah, you're right, and this is why. And there's a lovely thing in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in which Douglas Adams does a similar thing about, oh no, that's just paranoia. Everybody's got that. Everybody lives with the knowledge of their own disappointments, their own shortcomings, the things they should have done that they didn't do, the path that their lives could have taken. And what this does is take that very, very simple central idea and then expand this like a kernel of popcorn going, turning into this big fluffy thing. But at the centre of it is something that you know and recognise.
I guess that we have theoretical physicists listening to this. And
who's shaking their heads in disbelief.
And people who know about astrophysics. My challenge for next week, can you describe the multiverse idea in one paragraph? Okay, that's it. And a short paragraph. Because the multiverse is clearly coming up an awful lot.
Yeah, it is.
And I remember doing interviews with theoretical physicists in which essentially they go, the multiverse is useful because it helps to explain the way everything is. However, there is not a shred of evidence that proves that it's there. So it's a very useful tool. So in that case, it's basically a religion. So there's no evidence, but it helps to make sense.
Yeah.
So, but if you understand this stuff, explain it to Mark and I, assume we know nothing, in a very, very short paragraph.
I think people do always assume that.
They do.